So another Milan Fashion Week has come and gone, and I figured I'd just do a little bit of a recap and talk about things that I like, things that I didn't like. Overall, some pretty exciting stuff, and maybe just get your guys' takes as well. Just a fun recap. I don't want this to be like a comprehensive recap and go over like every show and every little thing that happened, just kind of the standouts for me. And also like not get too analytical, just kind of like give reactions and my general thoughts and things that like stood out to me. I always feel like these things like really sneak up on me. Like I don't follow super closely like, oh, this Fashion Week's coming up or whatever. It's not like I'm going to be going to them. So when the shows start pouring in, I'm like, oh, it's Milan Fashion Week. And Paris Fashion Week is going on right now, so maybe I'll do another one of these. So I guess I can kind of start off with anything. I think Ralph Lauren were the first looks I started seeing come through, so I guess I could start there. I guess the standout for me with Ralph Lauren is someone posted a thread that was like RIP Aimé Leon Dore, and they were posting pictures of the Ralph show. When I saw them, I thought they were pictures of an Aimé Leon Dore collection or something, which should have triggered my head because it was a runway show, but whatever. Like it looked like ALD, and I said in a good way. I thought well, first of all, the looks covered a huge range, which is not uncommon, but like they start off in this kind of like streetwear-y, very eclectic mix thing. Like that's the thing that stood out to me as being kind of in that ALD style was, well, the styling was fantastic. Like all these pieces that like look like they may not go together, styled perfectly in a way that it makes perfect sense. And then obviously, like I said, there's a huge range. So you got like the kind of more streetwear-y type looks and like workwear looks and kind of blending into like more formal suiting and things like that. It's no surprise that like Ralph Lauren has been always excellent, super consistent, but just really cool, really nice stuff. You know, some of the denim and like distressing and details and stuff really stood out. Like I said, for any of these, I'll like try and put up some looks that like relate to what I'm talking about. But yeah, like that's kind of the thing that stood out to me is like detail work. Like everything felt very like detailed and intentional and just held together super well. Which is, again, not surprising for Ralph Lauren. If you look through the whole thing, it's like a lot of looks. You could buy only Ralph Lauren and be like, I can be any one in this brand. Does that make sense? Like I could be any type of guy and still buy all Ralph Lauren. I could do the workwear stuff. I could be the streetwear type guy. I could dress like a magician and still all buy Ralph stuff. And that's a powerful position as a brand to be in, I think. I know a guy who dresses exclusively in LL Bean. That reminds me of that type of vibe. Like some people just want to have like, that's my brand. That's what I'm going to buy. But to be able to do that and still be so eclectic as Ralph is really cool. Also, some of these belts, the details are insane. They remind me of the famous Ralph belt with the giant jeans. Ralph's got he's got a belt collection that would rival even mine. Hilariously stupid thing to say. One thing I will note, and it's kind of interesting to start here and then move on, is like a lot of people will say like Virgil Abloh brought in with Louis Vuitton and stuff that he was doing with Off-White, brought in a lot of like streetwear to luxury fashion. And I feel like that's been going the way of the dodo. We haven't been seeing as much of it. Like quiet luxury, stealth wealth, minimalism has really kind of become the mainstream again, has really taken back over the runway. And I think I'm seeing that with Milan Fashion Week kind of across the board. But interestingly enough, Ralph Lauren, like I was trying to think of what was the most like streetwear infused looks of this besides like D Squared. And yeah, Ralph Lauren was like doing it in a way that's like, this is luxury fashion, but with streetwear looks kind of still blended in. Not that he's not still doing the like pure suiting and stuff, but like, again, those Aimé Leon Dore type looks felt that way to me. But that's a broad thing that I'm noticing across the board. Is like a lot of the labels are just like, we're done with streetwear looks. We're going entirely sophisticated. Speaking of sophisticated, I'll talk about Amiri. I feel like I see this happen every time they do a show. But there's a big swell of people who are being like, oh, Amiri's really good. It's kind of funny because like the temperature then kind of turns down and people like revert to feeling like Amiri's just kind of like a trashy streetwear brand. And it's frustrating. I have this like love-hate relationship with Amiri because they're kind of a tale of two brands. I really like their runway, high fashion type stuff. I don't really care for their more streetwear type stuff. And they're so clashing. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I think the people that are reacting really positively to these shows, I don't know, man. It's a lot of like, it's kind of turning into like, oh, this is the Amiri stuff for the celebrities and the red carpet. And this is the little crumbs that will drip down to you guys. And a lot of this stuff isn't appearing in store. I should talk about the collection a little bit. It's not a huge departure from what he's been doing in the past couple of years with this kind of like elegant Hollywood, slight sprinkle of sleeves on there, like 70s oversized jackets and lapels and stuff. This year though, he's kind of put like a little something, a little seasoning on each show. The last one had like a very like loungy hotel type vibe to it. The one before that was like very Hollywood. This one was a little bit of like, well, I shouldn't even say a little bit. It was a decent amount of like the Western interpretation of that like 70s suiting look. So you had like metal tips on a lot of the lapels, which is cool. Continuing to have like ribbon ties, you know, somebody call Colonel Sanders. They're stealing his whole vibe. But really, you know, really nice, elegant, beautiful pieces. This jacket is awesome. Hopefully I'll remember to put that picture up. You know, interestingly, I made fun of myself for buying 3 Amiri belts from the Spring Summer 25 collection. And I've always liked their accessories. The belts on this one I actually didn't like. They reminded me, they're like all Western belts and stuff, but they're like maximalist in a way. And they remind me of like Western belts you'd find on like ASOS or just like a crappy, you know, Urban Outfitters or something. They don't feel like they have that sophistication that like a lot of the other pieces of the brand are doing. This is too much by half. So again, I guess I'm frustrated because I can't get too excited about some of these pieces because I feel like they're not going to materialize in the stores or anything. And the fans of the brand, like some of the hardcore ones that have been rocking with it for a while, they don't like the new direction either. The pre-spring collection or whatever that they just did was like all focused on like high schoolers and stuff. And it felt very like going back to that like kind of streetwear vibe. And I'm like, I'm getting tonal whiplash. If these bags ever come out, if I can buy them, well, first of all, let's see how expensive they are because I'm sure I can't afford them anyway, but I would be interested in that. I might do like a men's bag video, in which case I'll show some Amiri bags and talk about how we can't buy them. But great show. You know, I love it. One of my favorites of the season, but I just don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to buy any of it, both monetarily or physically. I need to become more of a celebrity. You guys need to subscribe more to the channel. That's the problem. That's the real problem here. Then I can become an obnoxious celebrity, get invited to these red carpet events and be like, give me the Amiri stuff, please. Send it to me. I'm kidding, but only kind of. Do subscribe if you haven't yet, please. Getting close to 5,000. So let's talk about, who do we want to talk about next? Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton and Amiri actually have kind of been doing a similar thing in my opinion, with this kind of like elegant, just nice, clean looks, flare trousers, nice suiting looks, beautiful leather jackets and stuff. I think this season had a lot of like Pharrell himself came out in like a croc leather jacket, which is really cool. I guess not too much stood out to me. I really like what Pharrell has done with the brand. I don't know how much of that is like design team versus him directing, but there's a lot of people who are like want Pharrell out, and I guess I don't see his stuff as being like, if anything, it's maybe a little expected. Like it's maybe a touch boring, but like it's consistently been pretty. I shouldn't say consistently. The one thing I'll say is that like it's a little up and down for me in terms of like, oh, I like this one or not so much. Like I didn't love the one he did with like the Nigo, all the stuff about like him and Nigo. It's cool that they have like a friendship and partnership through the years, but like it doesn't grab me as much when he's not doing something that's like a little bit more like, again, of that clean, elegant, sophisticated look. I think that's where he's really in his wheelhouse. And the bags are always really cool. You know, the leather stuff is like insanely expensive. I don't know who's out here buying these P9s. They're like $10,000. Guys, calm down. You don't need it. The one thing I'll say is like, I look at those silhouettes going down the runway and I'm like, man, the way those pieces just like flow looks so amazing. And like, I want to get my hands on those pants, but are they really going to do anything for me that like some wool slacks from the thrift won't do? You know what I mean? I had a friend ask me the other day, like, what are those pants, man? I was wearing some like pleated, you know, again, wool trousers or whatever. And I was like, Salvation Army. Because, you know, some people don't know that their grandpa's closet is a treasure trove right now, and they'll just throw stuff out to the thrift. Like, is the cut and the flow really going to be worth, I don't know. I think those pants are probably a minimum $1,200. That's a stupid question. No, it's not worth that. But I guess I mean, like, is it even going to really capture that much of a difference of look between what you'd get, which is some nice pleated wool pants from anywhere? I don't know. But they do look very nice. Also, we're tucking our dress pants into socks now. That's not just for track pants anymore. We'll see if that one catches on. Let's talk about Prada. Didn't love the Prada show. I didn't hate it. It was good. I liked it certainly a lot better than the last one. A lot more wearable, in my opinion. Some notable things. It seemed a little bit more Raf Simons to me. Raf always does a really good job with like nice little like pops of color, I feel like. He uses it in very like unexpected ways. That's very like playful. So you'll just see like a pretty wearable looking like top coat fit, but there'll be like little pops of like purple or green in the shoelaces or mixed in throughout. And like, to me, I'm like, that's Raf. I didn't love what he was doing with like I don't even know if I'd call him cropped, the shoulder raincoat look or whatever. It's kind of one of those like goofy things that Prada likes to throw in that is fine. It's cool. Look at my notes. We gotta check our notes, folks. Oh, really good knitwear. Just the sweaters are looking fantastic. Nice like scoop neck look. It gives kind of a cool like casual vibe, especially thrown with those like top coats and raincoats. A lot of people have talked about the stained cuffs and I don't love them. I don't actually know if that's gonna be like, is that gonna be on the retail? I don't think so. I think it's just a styling thing for the show. So it you know, if it's just a statement as part of the like runway show, then it's fine. It's cool. But I wouldn't like, I've made this comment before with like Boris Bajan Sabiri distressing. Like I really like distressing as a technique. I don't love stains. I don't want to look like I have like pit stains or, you know what I mean? Like that's gross. Same thing with like food stains on your stuff. Whatever. Spending too long on Prada. It was cool. Better direction in my opinion. I still don't know if I'd go out of my way to wear it. These caps, I don't personally love them, but it has a very like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure vibe to it. JoJo represented heavily throughout the Prada show. Oh, and this coat, this jacket is awesome. I love this style where you just see like these little like houndstooth details on the edge. He did mention something in the show notes about like licking away layers, and that's kind of what it looks like. It looks like it was a houndstooth jacket that's just frayed away and everything except for like the very edges. Very cool. If I were to get a piece from the show, it would probably be that. One thing I will say, I don't know why I always focus on Prada with this, is like, I'm always interested in watching these shows, like if I can spot an overall trend for like where the industry's moving. And for whatever reason, we're all obsessed with the whole like skinny jeans versus straight versus barrel, baggy, whatever. I'm seeing a lot of oversized, but not in the way that we've come to know it. This is hard to describe, but oversized in a way that is like, these are too big in the waist or too big in the length. Like Prada's doing that like aggressive no hem where the stuff is just like pooling around your ankles, but the pants themselves aren't super baggy. They're like, they look kind of straight, possibly even like slim or like slightly flared. Same thing with the belt loops. This Japanese brand, I unfortunately the name escapes me, but I'll try and put it up on screen. The belt was like below the belt where the standard belt loops are, if that makes sense. C2H4 has been, that's actually the first place that I noticed this, where like the pants look like bunched up. So I think that's gonna be a thing. Like I actually would check out some of those C2H4 pants. Or, you know, if you have a pair that's just too big, now's your time to start rocking them and really cinch them up with a belt. So that's an interesting overall trend. What do you guys think about that? Do you look at these shows as a marker for like where the industry's going in general? I'll come back to that. I'll touch on Dior briefly because I gave Jonathan Anderson Designer of the Year last year. I think this show has been even more divisive than his last one. Like people were kind of half and half on that. This one, I think I'm seeing a lot of negative comments on. I myself will say I didn't love it. Like I don't look at that and be like, oh, I want to dress like that or whatever. But I do think, you know, I've made comments about a lot of stuff right now being like nostalgia fueled and shows kind of seeming like they're like doing previous creative directors' greatest hits. While Jonathan Anderson is like doing a lot of like deep cuts and house codes with Dior, I also feel like he's being really inventive. You can't say it's like boring. It's at the very least, it's interesting, even if it's something that I don't want to wear. So I got to give him credit for that. That being said, you know, I still don't have to like it. So, you know, there's some cool stuff and it's iconic. Like that's the thing I've always given him credit for is like, of all the shows, like that one I can pick out like that. I'm like, oh, that's Dior Fall Winter 26 menswear by Jonathan Anderson. You know, the bright yellow wigs he's got going on there and interesting to bring back some like punk rock influence and things. Reminds me of Eddie Slamont a little bit in that way, but still with that distinctive cut of the coats that he's doing. I don't personally love it, but it's iconic. So I want to give him credit there while also saying not for me. I wish you the best of luck in the future. I want him to keep doing his thing, developing and seeing if he really hits a stride. Because I think he has found a bit of an audience there. It's cool. I'll mention Dolce & Gabbana. Where to begin? You know, I'm not some man, it's a delicate topic, and I don't want to get too, again, political. I made a reel, TikTok, whatever, about this. And other people have commented on it, so I probably don't need to spend too much time on it, but they cast all white models, or white passing, whatever you want to say. No black models, let's just say that. Or no Asian ones that I could see, East Asian. That's a very deliberate choice. They're doing that intentionally. There's 0% chance that no one in the room said, hey, we should probably have some models of color in this show. So wherever you sit on the political line, just know that happened in the rooms. They made a deliberate choice to say we're going to cast all white or white passing models. And to me, that's a statement. I don't even say it to me. They're making a statement with that, right? And obviously Dolce & Gabbana have courted controversy in the past. They've kind of steered into it a little bit. They're the canceled brand or whatever because they've done what people have considered racially insensitive campaigns or made comments that have seemed, again, racially insensitive. So I think because of that, in the last couple of years, Dolce & Gabbana have been kind of on the outs. They've been considered a problematic brand. And they haven't gotten as much mainstream attention because of that. I think justifiably so. The show was really good. The clothes were great, I thought. I really liked them. And it's kind of funny because I was seeing a lot of positive response to it. And so it kind of, I basically summed this up in my TikTok, but it kind of felt like people were almost ready to forgive their past transgressions and be like, okay, it's in the past. You guys make good clothes. Let's have a conversation here. Maybe we can kind of move on from some of the stuff you guys have done in the past. And then they pull this kind of stunt, this show. And it just puts a bad taste in your mouth. It makes it very hard to want to support them. If you believe that we vote with our dollar or whatever, which is hard not to in capitalism, that's kind of our ultimate power is what we spend money on, then you're choosing to spend money on guys who want to provoke people with, we did an all-white show. And what's funny, and I'm sure I'll get some of this in the comments, cool, it's fine. I'm not trying to be Mr. Social Justice Warrior. I'm just trying to talk about how these decisions get made and what the intentions of the creators are. I saw a lot of people defending this to me and being like, there's nothing wrong with having an all-white show. Yeah, there is. In my opinion. You're going out of your way to say we do not value diversity, or you're trying to poke the bear a little bit and be like, we're going to get, the rage bait. And some people were saying I'm Asian and Asian brands don't do this. I'm sure there are some, but what Asian brands are you talking about? Because Yoji uses non-Asian models. Julius uses white models and black models all the time. Hell, I don't know. Sacai just showed. Let me look at Sacai. Sacai official. Okay. So like I said, I'm sure there are some of those brands, but which ones? Because I'm not really seeing it. I'm spending too much time on this, but we talked about what the intentions are of the artists as they put out their show, what their great statement is. And you can talk about Rick Owens, which we'll get to, wanted to make an anti-cop statement. Dior wants to reframe the aristocracy or whatever. What's the statement? Is the statement here, it's okay to have an all-white show? If that's your grand artistic statement, that don't impress me much, if you catch my drift. So, whatever. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Good show. Wish they hadn't done that. Fair? Let's talk about Rick Owens. The Rick show was good. I love Rick Owens. Rick is consistently good. He's always putting out good stuff. And my biggest slam against it is when it doesn't super stand out to me. I tend to like the Rick shows that are oh, that's strobe. I can tell because they have all the strobe lights on their head. That's Fogashine. I can tell because they have fog machines on it. I'm making fun of myself, but the shows that have a big, dramatic, identifiable look to them. And sometimes for someone who's so avant-garde and so boundary breaking, sometimes his stuff can feel a little okay, that's a Rick Owens show. So some really cool looks. I really like the Cousin It, giant wigs or whatever that kind of cover the whole body and go down to the feet. The evolution of the boots, adding these sack-like outer layers to them were really cool. I will say again, I love Rick. Don't get it twisted. But I do think he's even said before that he backs into his explanations of some of his shows sometimes. And that's very much how it felt to me with this one. Like I've seen some comments about him talking about like it's like anti-cop propaganda or something like that. I don't see it at all in the show itself. I'll try to put up some of his comments if I can get good snipes of them. But like, I think GeoCasket even came out and said like, I don't know about your explanation for this one, man. Like if you were doing an anti-fascist like statement for this show, I just didn't get it. So maybe in his head, that's what he was doing, but I wish it came through a little bit stronger because again, consistency can sometimes make it so you don't, your statement isn't standing through too much. And like, again, going back to Prada, like I may not like it, but at least I can see that they're like, oh, they did something with this one. Like all their clothes have stained sleeves on them. Like if you're going to do an anti-fascist thing, like what's the through line there? I really wanted that to come through a little more strongly. But I did like that the show felt just a little bit more like some of his old stuff, right? It had a little bit more of that like grungy, kind of like edgier feel to it. I've talked about this before, how like some of his more recent stuff I feel like is a little bit more like flowy, a little bit more feminine. Felt like he was tapping more into what he was doing like 10 years ago, kind of that grungy chic look. So I was into that. I'm pleasantly surprised by that. And then finally, I'll just touch on the Jaden Smith Louboutin stuff. It wasn't a runway show, it was just like an exhibition, but it coincided with Milan Fashion Week, so I figured it's a good time to talk about it here. I've made a video kind of like dunking on the whole thing because I think it's kind of, I mean, it's obviously like nepotism. Jaden Smith has like flirted with design for other brands and stuff, but never in like a hugely major way. And so for Louboutin to give him this like creative direction role just is insane over, so many other talented options out there. But because of that, I'm like, I know that I'm biased against him, right? I'm primed to dislike anything that he's going to come out with. So I want to go in and look at this stuff with an objective, viewpoint, as impossible as that is for someone to have. I've seen a ton of people dunking on the show. I've seen a ton of people trashing it, saying how terrible it was. Interestingly, I have seen some people who are like, this is fire. Again, trying to set aside any personal bias I have and just look at it like how would I react to this if someone else came out with it? I still think I would say I don't think it's very good. It seems very like student project to me. A lot of the things that he's showing are just like stuff I've seen that are cool, but that I've seen other people do time and time again. Like this red box that like you look at it a certain way and it's a box, perspective art, whatever. Big display full of CRT TVs, like all showing glitchy whatever. And just like the exploration of red as a theme. It's like, yeah, the first thing you think of when you think of Louboutin, the red bottoms, cool. You got anything else there for me? Like he did some interview where, and I don't know if it was like snipped to hell, but like he was just like, yeah, I wanted to explore red, red's a powerful color. And it's just like, let's scratch under the surface a little bit more there, Jaden. Red is a powerful color. Like in China, red is like a symbol of like luck and prosperity. But like you could talk about red as like how different cultures around the world process it. Like I said, in China, it's really this amazing color that you want like to swaddle yourself in. But in other cultures, it could be seen as it's like a symbol of danger, right? Or like extreme passion. So like you could do some pieces that like reframe it through that way. And it just feels like he's not exploring anything interesting with that. And the pieces themselves, I'm not saying there's nothing cool in there. Like there are some things I like. I like some of the boots. Again, some of the ideas feel like they're like done before. Like the drippy thing is like, I just think of like Carol Christian Pole or whatever. And then some of them are just like outright terrible. I think like all the Elmo fur stuff. I will say I actually kind of like this like jagged heel boot thing. It's fine. None of it, a lot of it doesn't like hold together super well for me. And I also actually don't mind the like this like webbing prosthetic on this boot thing. I think that's kind of cool. It just feels like a hodgepodge of like half-baked or quarter-baked ideas from someone who thinks that the ideas that they're having are way deeper than they are. But I am curious, what did you guys think of the Jaden Louboutin stuff? I mean, it's like I said, are we just hating on it because it's Jaden? Because that's not fair. Got to give him a fair shake, but I just don't. It's going to be a no from me, dog. Let me know if you like this, because then maybe next weekend I'll do like a recap of Paris Fashion Week, because there's some exciting stuff coming out I've seen already. But Do you guys do that? Like I do, like look at shows and try to like see where the tides are shifting. Like I use it as a barometer for kind of being like, oh, cool, we're going to be seeing a lot more of X. I don't know if I can do that. Like it's every designer just trying to do their own thing. I think it's cool picking up on overall trends that you see. Like I said, like streetwear kind of dying off and like quiet luxury being the mainstay or the main focal point. I love the idea of like looking at these shows and trying to see the overall trend of where things are going to go. One thing that maybe is like a little concerning to me is like, I don't know that I'm seeing anything that I'm like, that's going to be the next thing in fashion. And I don't know if maybe we'll never see that again. I don't know because we've kind of all seen and done it before, you know, nothing new under the sun. I'd like to believe that there is, but we'll see. What do you guys think of Milan Fashion Week? What were your favorites and what were your least favorites? Again, if you like this format, do let me know because I'll do more. I know I say it all the time, but it's actually not BS that like if I get like more subscribers to a certain video, I see it and I'm like, oh, they like that one, I'll do more like that. So again, if you like this kind of thing, you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. But yeah, that's my recap of Milan Fashion Week. I hope you guys liked it. If you do, please leave a like and I hope to catch you in the next one. See you guys.